The warning. The radio telescope at Mauna Kea had been silent for 11 years. Then, at 3:47 a.m. on a Tuesday that no one would ever forget, it screamed. Dr. Marcus Webb jolted upright in his chair, knocking over a cold cup of coffee as the monitors flooded with cascading data. He had spent the better part of 2 decades listening to the quiet hum of deep space, cataloging the polite nothingness between stars. What came through now was anything but polite. It was a distress signal. But not from Earth. He ran the translation algorithm 3 times, certain the system had malfunctioned. It hadn't. The message, originating from somewhere near the Orion Arm's outer edge, translated with brutal simplicity, "They are coming. We are losing. Anyone who hears this, do not stay silent." Marcus stared at the words on his screen for a long moment. Then he picked up his phone and called the one person he trusted above everyone else at the International Space Coordination Bureau. "Elara," he said when she answered. "Get to the observatory. Now." The Council debates. Within 72 hours, every major space agency on Earth had been briefed. Within a week, an emergency session of the Global Aerospace Council convened in Geneva. 41 nations sat around a curved table the shape of a crescent moon, arguing about what humanity should do with a message that had rewritten the definition of loneliness in the universe. Commander Elara Voss stood at the front of the chamber, her silver uniform pressed sharp, her jaw sharper. She had spent her career preparing for contact. She had never imagined it would arrive like a wound. "We are not being invited," she told the council, her voice steady and deliberate. "We are being called." General Rourke of the North Atlantic Defense Bloc folded his thick arms. "Called into someone else's war." "Called into the war," Elara corrected. "If whoever is losing out there falls, what do you imagine comes next? They don't stop at the Orion Arm." The room was silent in the way that rooms go silent when everyone knows the truth but no one wants to carry it first. Then, one by one, hands rose across the crescent table. The vote was 38-3. Humanity would answer. The fleet launches. They built the fleet in 18 months, a feat that should have taken 30 years. Every nation poured resources into the construction yards orbiting Earth, rivalries dissolving under the weight of something larger than politics. Engineers who had competed their entire careers now shared blueprints without hesitation. Pilots who had trained in opposing air forces ran drills together in the dark of space. The ships were named after concepts rather than conquerors. Perseverance, Resolve, Reckoning, Dawn. On launch day, 4 billion people watched the feeds from their homes, their schools, their rooftops. The sky above every ocean filled briefly with light as the fleet accelerated beyond the moon's orbit and bent toward the deep dark. Elara sat in the command chair of Resolve, Marcus beside her at the communications station. She did not look back at Earth through the viewport. She had made a private rule about that. Looking back, she believed, was how you lost your nerve. "Signal the fleet," she said quietly. Marcus opened the channel. "All vessels, this is Resolve. We are en route. Contact." They found the battlefield 3 light months from a dying red dwarf, a vast, silent theater of wreckage and light. The alien vessels they had come to aid were elegant, angular things, dark as obsidian, holding a ragged defensive line against an enemy that moved like a single, terrible organism, ships that pulsed and shifted, hundreds of them, consuming everything in their path. The aliens had not expected reinforcements. No one, apparently, ever came when called. The enemy, however, had not expected humanity either. Elara gave the order with 4 words, "All ships, open fire." What followed would later be described by historians as the 11-hour stand. The human fleet punched through the enemy formation with a ferocity that owed something to desperation and something more to 8 billion people watching from a pale blue world that they refused to let be next. When the last enemy vessel retreated into the dark, the battlefield went still. Across the comm channel came a sound, not quite language, not quite music, from the obsidian ships. Marcus ran it through every translation filter he had. The closest approximation the algorithm could produce was 2 words. "You came." Elara leaned forward and opened the channel. "We heard you," she said simply. "That's what we do."